Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Lifetime Legacy Lawyer podcast. I'm Thomas Vick, joined as always by my co-host, Seth Wilson. Seth, how are you today?
Thomas, we're doing great up here and sunny afternoon on already in August. This is crazy how fast this summer has gone. We got kids in back to school activities and sports and all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure you're busy like I am.
Yes. Definitely a busy time of the year with school restarting and getting the kids situated and all that kind of stuff. So definitely busy, but a good time of the year as well. Uh, well, as always, we want to talk about the blog digest that went out. And the topic of the blog was special planning for aging without a family caregiver. This is a problem that a lot of people run into, unfortunately, for various reasons. And so, Seth, what are your initial thoughts when you hear that topic?
Yeah, I see it in a couple different contexts. I don't know who to name in my documents to help me and what are the options that are available. And also just folks who call with questions about what to do and how do we help navigate that. So I think it's important to make that initial call and get things started because there may be a time where that aging happens a little quicker than we might have wanted it to, and the competency issue becomes first and foremost a concern in terms of can some of these tools that are available be applied because the individuals aren't quite capable of making those determinations. So generally in that case, Thomas, what do you recommend as far as the folks need, what do they need document wise in terms of helping those aging in place?
Well, it is an interesting problem that people have sometimes. Sometimes it's a sad problem. Maybe it's the fact that their entire family, they had family, but they're kind of the last one standing, unfortunately, and they don't really know who to name. It might be that their kids predeceased them, and they're the surviving spouse and that sort of thing. So that's difficult. But then there's also the problem of just somebody that is isolated. Um, Through various, it might be family disputes that they have had in the past, and there are no good relationships that this person has. And so before I even get to the documents, I kind of talk about, you need to think through this a little bit more and try your very, very best to find somebody that you can put down as a name on these documents. I don't remember exactly what the news article was. I don't know. It seems like I just read headlines these days. But the headline was basically like, there are more and more people that are becoming isolated, living alone, and because of that, it's affecting mental health nationwide. And so, this article and that news article that I am referring to, it kind of made me think about, like, in the counseling piece of being an estate planning attorney, encourage people to get active in the community. The more activity that you have with people, social interaction, the better off you're going to be. And I think some studies have indicated that having some social interaction is going to reduce the how the progress of dementia or Alzheimer's or that kind of thing. So that's one thing that I think I'm going to emphasize more to people in this kind of situation is get active in your community center. Here in Greenwood, I think the Greenwood Community Center has programs for adults where they can go and like sit in a chair and play play volleyball, things like that, just to keep older adults active, and I think that can really help. So That's one thing, and that's not exactly your question. You asked me what documents, but with that tangent, anything you want to add on that, Seth?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, I've had several occasions in my practice where the the individuals who ended up caring for someone who was aging were somebody they went to church with or were in a small group with. And whether they were able to, provide round the clock care was not going to be the determining factor, but they could go visit and they could go do things, and then they could be named in those documents, which is a big undertaking, but they could become a helper to manage finances and manage healthcare decisions and those kind of things. And so I think that's a great point, that there are other individuals around that can be helpful to you, and sometimes it's just a matter of making the ask, which is not always easy. There's some generational challenges there to seeking help or community or those kind of things, and so working through that. Or on the flip side, if you're an individual who knows someone who is in a aging scenario, maybe think about that as a way to provide a service to them, and talk to the lawyers about how could we do that in an appropriate way.
Yeah, and have a plan for your living arrangements and the safety of living arrangements. I've had I don't know, one or two very scary situations where an individual was maybe working in the garage by himself, living by himself. Kids live in the area, have a good relationship with him, but they're not checking on him every day, and so he was on the ground in the garage for 2 days with like a broken arm, broken hip, and just struggling to get to the phone. So having some safety measures, that could be, having an Apple Watch, that'll say, are you okay? And you can have an emergency response to that. I think Amazon's Alexa sort of has something like that too. And I understand people are concerned about privacy and that kind of thing, but also there are some pretty awesome safety measures that this technology can provide to older people. And then there's also a life alert. Some loved ones in my life say that everybody needs to have a life alert. So
Yeah, we should never be too proud for that. I discovered that yesterday when I tripped over two things in the same day. I'm like, what is going on? I'm fairly active, but it can happen to anyone. And if there's nobody around to help in that moment, we need to be thinking about those things and navigating a lot of those questions for folks.
yes. So bringing it down to kind of the practical attorney level here of what documents does a person need that's living alone, doesn't have a family caregiver. Get somebody named in a healthcare advance directive or healthcare proxy so that somebody can make healthcare decisions for you. You don't want the adult protective services coming in and having to file for guardianship of your person so that a court can make decisions for you. So get somebody that you know and trust as your healthcare representative. And then finances. The article, the blog digest, it mentions a couple different options as far as finances are concerned, but a general durable power of attorney is important so that finances can be dealt with. And then you might be in a situation where having a trust and having perhaps a financial institution serve as trustee for you might be a good option if you can't think of anybody else. There are some limitations to that. Financial institutions want to have $500,000, some $1 million of assets. But if you're in that category, that can be a great way of making sure that at least your finances are taken care of. Any thoughts on that, Seth?
I agree. I like how that's sort of the end of the analysis, because really what we're trying to do is is provide that care and safety ahead of time. But these documents are required to step into that role when there's non-familial relationships, and to help navigate those next level decisions. You're going to need that kind of protective language to say, hey, this is who is designated to carry out these things, and that assigns that obligation to whoever's carrying it out to do so in the best interest of the individual.
Absolutely, absolutely. It does mention, having a revocable trust. That's a possibility. Medicaid asset protection trusts are a possibility, but it really is a fact-sensitive, analysis that attorneys have to make in recommending what kind of trust is right for an individual. So keep those things in mind. Anything else on this topic, Seth?
I'm sure there's a lot that we haven't covered. We always try to keep these kind of short and to the point for folks, and really just that care. If you have that, let's call it a gut feeling that someone in your circle of influence needs that kind of help, start down the process. Give an attorney a call and see what can be done, and start figuring out, because if it's kind of tugging on your heart to make sure that individual is taken care of, there's probably a reason for that. They probably need that help.
Yep, very good, very good. I think we'll do things a little bit opposite today. So my name is Thomas Vick. I'm the attorney at Vick Law PC in Greenwood, Indiana. The best way that you can get in touch with me is by going to vicklaw.org. How about you, Seth?
Well, Thomas, it's always good to kind of mix things up, because it keeps those neurons firing in our brain. So
keep it fresh.
That's right. Well, we are up here at in Hamilton County, Indiana, at noblesvilleattorney.com. You can find all of our contact information there. And as always, Thomas, appreciate the time, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.